Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Fulfillment Podcast, where we help discover a better you by finding fulfillment in life, relationships, and finance. I'm your host, Josh, and we are going to pick up where we left off on part 2 of the interview with Mariah D'Arcangelo on You Learn and You Love. Hope you guys enjoy the second part. So why do you feel like you're in this stage of fear right now that you found the right thing? Is it too much self-love? Is it not enough self-love to where you haven't totally healed? Like, what side of the spectrum do you think it is?
Honestly, I think I've always, dreamt about this, prayed for it. It's something that in my mind I've always, been like your fairy tale story. Like, this is what I would love this person to be like. Or, even if you're with somebody like, oh, I wish they had this quality and la-di-da. He's hitting every fucking nail on the head, okay?
Yeah.
So, I have this thing where I'm like, why am I so shocked that this is real when that's literally what I've been envisioning and waiting for and praying about, and I should be very familiar with that being a real thing.
True.
Why am I so
scared about it?
Having such a hard time accepting that this is real when that's literally what I've been
asking for?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, it's fucking terrifying. But then it's also like, don't settle on that and just let it happen. Like, this is what you've wanted. This is what you've waited for. Stop being so shocked that it's finally here. And I think I got to a point, or I know I got to a point where I kind of, I want all this and I don't want to settle for less, but also, you know what, maybe everyone doesn't always line up how you want them to, and you're going to have to settle in some areas. Maybe it's not possible. Maybe I'm going to be by myself. And you know what? I've come to a point with the self-love and just continuing to figure out who I am, that I'm okay if I'm by myself. Is that my happiest ending? Hell no. I don't think anyone wants to be by themselves. But I started to be okay with that and get comfortable. Right?
Yep.
So now that this is coming up and it's a possibility and it's freaking happening, I'm like, okay, we're getting a little uncomfy here.
How do you think you can, so for somebody that's going through a similar experience, how do you think you can recognize, what's a tip you would say, hey, this is how you could recognize that this is maybe the right potential match and this is where you're supposed to be? Don't run away from it.
I can't find the damn red flags. I can't find the red flag to calm my inside.
Huh.
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, whether you realize it or not, I'm like, okay, that thing's a little off. You might be able to look past it.
Oh.
And, I've had past where you're just like, okay, I don't know that I like that, or that could be an issue down the road. Whatever. That's a thing.
Something comes up into your head. Yeah. Something is popping up.
Yeah, where you're just like, okay, cool. That makes you, seem human, and me feel like, well, whatever, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to,
You find a justification almost. Something you have to justify.
So now when I'm in this point where I'm like, where's the red flag? Where's the red flag? Just fucking give me a red flag. But also, please don't, because this is amazing.
Yep.
That's when, so then I panic a little bit, and I'm fighting this guard where I'm like, put it up, don't put it up, put it up, don't fucking put it up. So just let it happen and enjoy being in the moment and being happy, let it happen. And if it does crash later, it crashes later. But why am I going to destroy that for myself before that time comes?
Right. Almost like having,
that's not fair to anyone.
Almost like having control. This is at a point now where it's right and it's what you're supposed to have, but you don't have control of this.
No.
Because you have to let it, you got to let it go.
Yeah. I love it, but I do not like it.
Yeah. It's very invigorating.
It's new, but it's, again, going back to getting out of the comfort zone, and it's a good kind of uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So I see.
Yeah, that is crazy. Cause almost when you have those red flags, like you said, you don't have that right now, but when you do have the red flags, you have this knowledge in your head where you're like, I know this isn't going to work out. I'm in control of this situation. And when I already know, you know the destination at this point.
Right.
So you know the destination of where something's going to go. If there are those red flags and there's those I don't know, uncompromising points.
Or something.
Yeah.
There's not as big as disappointment if it does fall apart.
Well, you've already set the goal for what it's going to do. So now you're just like, okay, how do I get to that?
Yeah.
Whereas right now you're like, boy, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're like, this could work, and it's terrifying because I don't have an end.
And
like,
I haven't
there is
been to this kind of level of things working, so I also don't know, right?
Right.
Where when there's stuff where there's a problem, it's like, all right, okay, cool, I'm like an expert in shit not working out or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got this. But when it comes to like something working out, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
So what?
So I got to do everything I'm not used to doing so that this works.
So you just got to let go and just let it happen. Okay.
Yeah, have a little trust, have a little faith, and just
almost embrace being uncomfortable, like you said earlier.
1,000%. Just rock with it.
Enjoy being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Embrace that uncomfortable feeling. What advice would you say to somebody who's like on the brink of running or breaking it up or taking off because everything feels right and they have that chemistry, they have no red flags, like those things are all connecting for them, but they're questioning if they're in the right place, they're questioning if they've spent the right time together, they're questioning if this is the time in their life when they're supposed to do that. Like, what advice would you have to somebody
Get out
with
of
those?
your own fucking way. Get out of your own goddamn head. Like, I am the master of that, and I have to stop and be like, stop. Like, what if? Don't ruin it for yourself. Like, okay, say this relationship blows up in flames in 7 years.
Yeah.
Do I want the stress of my thought of that to just blow it up now? No, because why do that to yourself? You're never going to be able to give yourself the opportunity to let anything grow, to let anything work out. You know what I mean? And
right.
Just, you gotta get yourself out of the way. And things happen. Life happens. You're gonna continue to hit struggles. You're gonna continue to hit obstacles no matter what. Mm-hmm. So stop doing it to yourself. Face the obstacles that you can't control. Get rid of the ones that you can control. Yeah,
that's so true.
Just get out of your way, and it's okay to be happy, because I think that's my other thing that I really, really struggle with. Yeah. And I heard, I wish I could remember what podcast it was on, but where somebody had talked about the idea that people panic when they feel happy because they almost feel like they're settling, right? Like, there's something about feeling like you're running on this hamster wheel that makes you feel like you're going somewhere, that you're growing, that you're getting to a goal, that you're working. If you're exhausting yourself, if you're running in circles, if you're not happy, for some reason we take that as in like, okay, it's because we're making progress, right? Where when you're happy, sometimes you're like, oh,
I've hit it.
Now I'm settled, and how dare I settle when there's so much more out there to do? And so it's this, which I thought was interesting, because I feel that, in a moment where I'm like, oh, I'm happy. And then it's like, okay, but what could I be doing? I could be doing something. There's something that I can be doing or working on or growing in, where it's okay to just be happy, to just embrace the moment.
Do you think that there's a point where you can still be in that progressive state to where you're growing and experiencing more and improving yourself while still finding that person, that relationship? You don't have to have all figured out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you think a lot of people try and get into a relationship thinking that person will fix their problems and get them to that point?
Yeah. I mean, I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's destructive.
Yeah. I mean, for example, a relationship that I was in, I have always wanted to get out of Michigan, right? Yeah. I don't know. It's just been a thing. I want to get out of Michigan. I'm a chicken. I don't like doing shit by myself. It's hard for me to step out of my comfort zone, but I'm learning and growing. And yeah, there's times where I like to be alone, but ultimately I don't like being alone. I like to be around people and this and that. Okay. Dated a guy, thought we were going to go out of Michigan. We talked about it and all this jazz, right? And I hardcore, that was so wrong of me, and I don't think I realized it at the time, but was almost using that relationship in a sense to be okay, this person is going to help me complete my goal of getting out of Michigan. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where it's okay, really, was our relationship ready for that?
Yeah.
Is that what we should have been doing together? But my whole thing was okay, I'm too much of a wimp. I'm not there yet. I can't handle this. I don't have the confidence to go out of state and do this by myself. So guess what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. This relationship's going to help get me there. After that, who knows? I don't know if that,
Right.
Obviously it didn't happen because, well, there's other things that factor in or whatever, and maybe I shouldn't be like so selfish in a relationship, but like that was definitely one where I was like using the relationship and I don't know, the other person to help me grow, but that's not something that they could have ever done. That's not something that could ever happen because I have to get down in and realize that I need to fix. And
what would you tell somebody who's in a relationship? What advice would you give to a girl who's in a relationship right now and feels like there is more, almost like she's settling, kind of like you talked about before, like she's settling in the relationship and she doesn't feel like it's like there's some red flags and there's some things that you're almost justifying in your head. What do you do about that?
That is a
because I know you got experience here.
Tough, yes. That is almost the worst spot to be in, where it's messing with your mind just enough, but it's not uncomfortable enough, or there's not a big event that happens. There's nothing wrong. That pushes that process.
Right.
And that's hard. I was in that situation. I dated a guy, and it sucks because I feel like it's almost worse because there was no wrong thing. Mm-hmm. There was no huge thing, but it just wasn't right.
Okay.
Or it just became to a point where it wasn't right.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, time tells all. Time tells all. I truly believe that no matter what situation you're in, time tells all. Okay. If you can, just chill out, try to think clearly without, maybe making rash decisions and whatnot. Time tells all. And either that feeling or that thought of I just don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is right. It's going to get stronger. Mm-hmm. It will definitely.
It's never going to get better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you give it time, it'll either go away and you were just having a little freak out moment and whatever and you moved on, or it's going to build and it's going to snowball and you're going to get to a point where you can't ignore it.
Mm-hmm. It'll implode on itself.
Yeah. And I guess you can ignore it. My advice would be don't. When it starts to totally destroy and bring things down, just embrace it before shit hits the fan that big. Try, I think people can break up and break off relationships without so much damage being done. Mm-hmm. And I would say try to realize that and accept it before it is a big blowout.
Almost kind of put yourself first.
Yeah. And
is that what you're thinking?
Right. And again, I don't think that, I don't know. I know, people always make fun when you're in a relationship or whatever. You're it's not you. It's me.
Yeah.
But really, I think that's huge. And I think that happens and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think there has to be a huge thing.
So do you think somebody that's in that position, when they are kind of feeling that, hey, things aren't quite I've got this weird gut feeling that this is just not my person. Mm-hmm. It's not the person I'm with, but I don't know how I'm going to break this off. If that's what's coming to their mind. Mm-hmm. Do you confront that with the individual that you're in the relationship with, or do you just say, work up the courage at some point and just cut it off? Do you sacrifice yourself and put up with it, or do you go for it and just cut it off and go for that, like you said, be uncomfortable and do what's in your heart?
I think that depends on the situation you're in. Because for me, communication is huge. I think you should be able to be with somebody that you can communicate with. And I think when things get a little funky like that, our natural instinct is to just keep it in and try to sort it out and figure it out in our own heads before we're able to speak to somebody else about it.
Yeah.
But the second you're able to speak to somebody else about it, I think you should just to, because there's a possibility you're going through a funk or who knows, or that it can be fixed. And I think the sooner you voice up, the more potential for changing paths or fixing or whatever you want to call it there is to happen. I think if you can voice this, hey, something's just not right. And I know it probably doesn't make sense. I don't know what it is, but something's just not right. Mm. And I also think it's huge on then how your partner responds to that. If they're willing to be all right, well, let's, what can we do? Or how can we change things or whatever? I think that's huge. And if right away it goes to some sort of negative, terrible thing, well, time tells all, and then that's just going to kind of snowball. And I think you check it out there and you cut it off. I think it depends on how long you've been together. I think it depends on the person you're with and your feelings. But I don't think it's ever bad to try to communicate first.
Okay. Do you think that that's something that you should, like, are you going to have that feeling later on down the road if you do try and work it out and get through it just to avoid causing pain to each other, that those feelings are only going to come up stronger and worse?
Possibly. And I think that's kind of the same as how I kind of mentioned earlier on of getting to the root cause, right? I think there's a difference if you have some sort of argument, some sort of miscommunication, whatever it is, there's a difference between patching up that situation that night and getting to the bottom root of it, right? Where, you know, say, I don't know, I'm in a relationship where we go out, we're drinking, whatever, there's like dirty dishes or some stupid shit happens, right?
Yeah.
You get into a huge one, like, I can't believe you didn't put that in the dishwasher or something super dumb, okay? Blows up because now a bunch of other feelings from a bunch of past
Everything
events
else
comes
is
into play.
Yeah.
Words start getting exchanged, whatever the case, now you have this huge feud. Tomorrow, you might be able to be like, wow, I apologize for being such an asshole. I'm super sorry it got blown out of proportion. Like, I didn't realize that's how you felt about this, blah, blah, blah. Or I didn't realize you didn't mean to leave this dish out or something stupid, right?
Yeah. Cool.
You patched up the problem. But really, why did I get so fucking irritated about a dirty dish being out? You know what I mean? Like, there's a something deeper there. There's either more issues or there's something in the past, or it just is like, great, that's honestly was just the tipping point of everything because you're a fucking slob and you don't pick anything up, and I feel like I'm pulling all the weight in this relationship. You know what I mean? To where if there's a bigger, deeper thing, we gotta go to that problem.
Right.
This whole like problem from last night, cool, because then that's just gonna continue to happen. It might not be that same damn dirty dish, but that's gonna continue to happen, and you're gonna continue to have that feeling, right?
Okay.
Where if you can dig deep and say, you know what, honestly, I feel like I give 110. I feel like lately you've maybe, you know, have only been giving 10%. And for me, just helping out around the house, that fills me up. I love that you get me like gifts and this and that and whatever. That doesn't do it for me. So I know you feel like you're contributing, but this stuff is what's important to me. And this is why I'm snapping or whatever, and getting to like that root bottom line of what's causing all the emotions.
Okay. So being able, you'd almost say, don't necessarily be settled on breaking things off or dealing with like that immediately, but have that open communication where you guys can at least talk.
I've been in relationships that, hate to say it, you can't.
Right.
That communication's not there.
Yeah.
So then at that point, you got to just internalize, what's your next move? What are you going to do?
Do you think do you know if you can talk to somebody about certain things? Like if you're like, hey, I don't know if you're the one. Like, do you know if that's a conversation? Like, you can tell, right? If that's a conversation.
I don't think that's very easy to tell somebody.
No, not at all.
I couldn't imagine being like, so, buddy, about this conversation here. No, I think there's, and sometimes I don't even know if you always realize, like,
no,
this
I think
isn't just working. And
right.
I think it's okay to admit, hey, listen, something's not right. I don't know what it is. I genuinely appreciate you as a person. I don't think it has to be a negative thing, right? Like, something's just not right, and it is not fair to you or to me that I'm just going to keep myself in this relationship, keep myself in this situation when I can't give my 100%. That's not fair to either of us.
Right. Being open, just having that conversation.
Yeah, but it's also sad because I know it is
so
very rare that people can have that communication. Because
Yeah.
typically, I also think when you have that communication,
you don't
you're
get
solid.
to that point. Yeah.
So you're not really going to be in that.
That's
you're
true.
not going to be in that situation too.
Right.
So
That's a very good point. Do you think that's something that before you even really get into a relationship, you should almost be able to have that conversation and use that as a criteria for if you're going to get in a relationship with them?
But this is also something I've learned. Right?
Yeah.
I've been in relationships that I can't, and I've learned that that is huge. And that's why I'm super big, especially now, into being friends with somebody before a relationship is a possibility. You know, like, I might have in my head, like, okay, this could be a possibility.
Like, they're cute, kind of? Like, oh, he's kind of cute.
Yeah, exactly. You know, let's see. I'll give you the time of day.
Yeah.
No, but that let me be around you as a friend. Let's take that pressure off of changing ourselves to impress you. You know, it's a little different. When you're with a friend, you're with a friend. You're chilling. You're being yourself.
Yeah.
If you're with somebody that is a possibility in the dating world, you're going to be like, I wonder what they're into, and let me kind of do this, or I know they like this, so I'm going to kind of do this. And I don't know that there's anything wrong with that, but I think then you can easily kind of become this person that you're not, maybe to them or whatever the case, and then that's going to get exhausting because you're not just naturally being yourself. You're thinking about how they're going to react to everything that you're doing. Where, for one, if you can just, there's nothing wrong with being patient.
Yeah.
I know in the world today that's not normal. No one knows how to be patient, including myself. There's nothing wrong with being patient. Time tells all, right?
Yeah.
If you can give it time, just be friends, and you guys continue to have an awesome friendship, and you're both on the same page of, are we going to really deny that there's something here? Go for it. But if you're friends, you're hanging out, and you start to realize, like, okay, that's probably not something that I, gonna end up with. Nothing against that person, and they might, probably feel the same way. But now it's okay that we're friends because we haven't crossed that line. We haven't done anything. We haven't, like, passed the friend zone to where now I almost just saved a friendship because, to me, and this is my own personal thing, I'm not really going to hang out with and be best friends with, people that I've been in relationships with or have hooked up with or whatever the case, because I don't know. I don't think that's fair to either of your, future relationships. I don't think that's fair to yourself. I think that's a door that's just kind of kept cracked open. And so for me, it's like, be a friend, see how things go, and I think that's also why I'm nervous about this dating situation that I'm in, is now I'm like, shit, we're crossing that line, and now there's potential that I'm going to lose a really good friend.
Yeah.
And that's hard. But I also know the potential of this to just continue on and be the best thing ever is huge. So I'm going to risk losing that friendship for what I can gain.
Okay.
So I think it's super, super important to take that pressure, be yourself, where now I already know, well, he kind of knows the raw me that's not trying to impress him.
Yeah.
And he's into that. And then that's so much more freeing to be like, oh, that's weird. Oh, but okay. Like, I'm glad because now I can be me.
What is kind of that, like, one almost indescribable quality that you could tell people or somebody listening that when you this person's different than somebody else, other than, like, not having red flags, what's that, like, character trait that you notice about somebody or that speaks to you that you're like, okay, I notice that I'm doing X or that certain that this is happening here. I haven't had this before, or this hasn't been something that I've experienced before. Like, what is something
in a way that I'm being?
Yeah, because you talk I hear a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah,
like you're just like, damn, like I'm spilling. Like you're getting like the raw side of me, not
away that ice heart, man.
Yeah.
Where it's just like natural. It's natural in a sense of I'm not going to open doors in that kind of a way to other guys or possibilities. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm not even telling myself not to. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Whether it's like something as stupid as an attractive guy posting something on Instagram. I'm not going to go out of my way to comment on that because why?
Because you're fulfilled
with
who you're with right now.
I give a shit. Or even if it's the opposite way, if somebody commenting or saying something, and there has to be no intention, but instead of engaging in a conversation, I'm not going to, because there's no need to. I mean, whatever, I'll converse, but I'm not, there's a different mindset to when if you're single and somebody's like, oh, hey, I post a lot on Instagram, I'm obsessed, whatever. People will post stuff and, I'll be like, hey, good job, whatever, you're killing it. Yeah, so now thanks, I've been diving into this, or how have you done this, or what advice would you have? And fully engaging, now it's just hey, thanks, I appreciate it. Because I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about where the possibility of that could go.
Okay.
Because this is fulfilling me so much, like you said. So like little things that I've noticed, like decision making, where I'm like, that's interesting. Like, just automatically kind of shifting over and not even allowing other opportunities to come up right now because I don't.
You don't want to.
I don't want them. Yeah, and so then why would I even take the risk of something dumb and innocent causing a problem later on?
Yeah, because that's the most important thing.
Whether it's like a dumb jealousy thing, whether it's a I don't know, whatever the case. But yeah, just little steps, and obviously that's just like an example because that's easy with social media, and I think that's a huge thing nowadays or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And just honestly, a big thing with him is just like comfort and openness in like the raw, like I want to tell you everything, like the good, the bad, like the ugly, like I want you to see me as I am, not who I'm trying to have everyone else see me as,
Thank you.
But it's weird because he automatically like sees me so much deeper than like anyone really has. And it's just like this, it's just wild.
It's the vulnerability, huh?
Yeah, I guess, where I'm like, holy shit, you see my heart and my soul, and like no one sees that, and it's freaking me out. And it's just like a safe recharge. It's a recharge. A lot of times being around people, I love people, but then it can be exhausting, and you need your time to kind of like fuel back. And he's like the first person that I'm like, holy shit, I can hang out with you for hours and I feel more recharged after instead of drained.
You feel better.
Like whoa. And then when he says he can feel the same way, you're like, holy shit, we're unstoppable. This is great. So
that's cool. I like I like how you said like you don't feel like you need somebody else.
No.
You don't want anybody else because you're almost, and it's kind of like we talked in the car. The connection that you have with them is stronger than what you've had with anybody else. Yeah. So anybody from your past could come back, and instead of you like constantly thinking about them and wondering, they could come back and be like, get the hell out of here. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, I got somebody way better.
Somebody did. And the best thing was I was able to show him and be like, look at this.
Like I got this guy. He's so much better, and I just don't care about you anymore.
Yeah,
goodbye.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Do you think that you stay attached or connected to somebody, like whoever your previous like best or strongest connection was, until you meet somebody that surpasses that?
I don't know, like, because I know what you're asking, and I feel like you've experienced this more than I have, so I don't know how to answer that. Because for one, I've never felt a connection like this so strong, and so it's absolutely terrifying, but I'm addicted to it, honestly. And I don't really have anyone that comes to mind specifically in a like, God, that was like, how did that not work? Or, a connection that was so strong that I ponder over for a long time. Or maybe it's because I'm terrible in a sense that like a door's shut, it's shut, and I
close it.
I can really just shove things out of my brain. I don't know that that's always good, but maybe it's just too painful. I don't let people like linger in my mind. So I can't go down that road the way I think you want me to, because I don't know.
Okay. This is your first time experiencing it then, really?
To this extent, yeah.
What advice?
And I think this is the first time experiencing that in like all freaking areas. Like I said, a lot of times, every other like relationship or something I've been in, I can find, whether you wanted to call it a red flag, whether you want to call it just something that's
gut
a little
feeling
off,
that's off. Yeah.
But I've always had something where I'm like, okay, this area we don't really connect, but it's not the end of the world.
Nothing's wrong.
Yes, nothing's wrong, but we don't. Where this, I'm like, holy shit.
Everything's hidden.
Every area so far. And like, don't get me wrong. Relationships aren't easy. You're going to have your things. We're going to have our things. And I get that. But for all areas to line up the way they do right now, I've never had that. So then even if I have had a connection with somebody, there's other areas that don't line up. So it doesn't linger, because then when that's over, I already knew A, B, and C was a little funky. So they're not lingering in my mind. Yeah. In the sense of future stuff. Does that make sense?
Yep. What advice would you give to a girl who can't or who has that kind of like vision almost, or that previous relationship like impeding her from moving forward or meeting somebody new, or like letting go of it, like somebody that can't because that person keeps popping up in their head.
You got to figure out what's going on. I think it's kind of getting back to the root cause. Is there why is it that you cannot move on? Is there potential for something to be rekindled? If so, you got to step up and speak about that. You know what I mean? Like you, maybe it's getting in contact with that person. Maybe, or it's opposite and you need to fully shut them out. You know, I know social media is huge nowadays, and sometimes I think it is really good to get rid of those people on social media. And I don't think that has to be a bad thing. Like I have an ex, and he specifically told me, listen, you're seeing other people or this and that. Like, I'm not gonna be able to be friends with you on social media. And like, I get that. And I think that you need that full separation for people to heal. I don't take any bad by that. You know, just same for me. I know I could get caught up in looking at people and where they are and this and that.
Yep.
What good am I doing for anyone? So I think you kind of either have to go one way or other. You need to either then dive in, open yourself up to, you know, an opportunity, see where that person's at, and just lay your shit on the table. And something's going to go one way or another, you know, or you need to completely cut off, get rid of that person maybe on social media, or if it's like somebody that you run into or they're around town, or you take a certain route so that you can kind of like go reminiscing on things, cut all that out because you're the one that's letting that linger, right? It's all your perspective. So it might not even be the universe at that point. It might just be you torturing yourself because you haven't completely shut that door. So to me, it sounds like then you're just kind of in the middle, and you got to figure out, you got to like sack up and have a conversation, you know, and be vulnerable and put yourself out there. And sometimes that's what it takes so that you can officially get heartbroken to move on.
Okay.
Or you need to just kind of come to terms and realize that you're the one holding on and that you need to totally slice it off. And in a year, if, you know, you're still lingering, then maybe reconnect, or maybe, you know, try to meet up and this and that. But I don't think the middle is a very healthy place to be, because you're ruining potential for anything that might come your way. Right? Because you're automatically fogging yourself to anything that could come, because you're so fixated on a past thing or caught up in it or whatever. I don't know. It's not good for anyone.
Okay. So you almost think like you gotta, like if you're having these thoughts, put yourself out there. If it doesn't work, get over it. Like, cut it off. Stop everything. You gotta figure,
and if you don't feel comfortable putting yourself out there, then cut it off. Then what are you doing to yourself? You're torturing yourself. Because what do you think? They're going to come knocking at your door? You know? Like, and if anything, if they're feeling the same way you are, they're waiting for you to come knocking at their door. So go fucking knock at their door and see what happens. You'll get your answer. It might suck.
That's so true. Yeah.
But like they're doing, if there is a possibility, they're doing the same damn thing. So you guys are both just wasting time and energy, you know?
What do you say for that person who has noticed that, like, they thought they were healed and they thought they were past this stuff, right? And then she notices that he's still checking out her profile, or he's still looking, or whatever.
Social media, it's right? The death of us.
Because where she thinks that, or I guess this doesn't even have to be a girl, this could be a guy too. Yeah. But they think they're past this person. They've done all these steps. They've gone to counseling. They've probably dated a couple times since. But this person still keeps coming up in their head, and then out of the weird chance or whatever, they notice that they're still checking up on their social. Maybe they've deleted them and they're still checking out their Instagram. Maybe they send them a like, or they talk to a friend and they're like, oh yeah, this girl asked about you, or this guy is asking about you, or whatever it is. Like, this person is still got you on their forefront. Like, what do you say to the person that's thought they were past somebody and realizes that their person that they thought they were over is still checking up on them?
Remember that your perspective is your reality. Okay, so maybe even if that person's checking out the profile or whatever, to you, might seem like a huge thing. To them, it may not be a big freaking deal.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, that is all in your head because you want them to be checking in on you. You want them to be wondering what you're doing. You want them to feel the same way and have the same thoughts. They may not. I think, again, then that's that comes to where it's not cut off, right? You're riding the middle line where it's either then you need to confront that situation and say, hey, I've seen you around on my social media. You know what I mean? Do you want to catch up? Is there something there? Or if not, I don't mean any harm, but like, we can't do this. You know, whether it's like blocking or just not being friends or whatever the case is, because you're just mentally torturing yourself, right? Yeah. Like then there's the whole perception of mind games and screwing yourself over of, oh, okay, now I'm feeding into the possibility, I'm feeding into the hope and this and that, and so they're checking up on me, they're probably thinking about me all the time, and maybe, but also that's just what you want, right? That would be the easy answer because that's what you want, and it's going to hurt like hell if that's not the case. But you're never going to find that out until you confront it, until you put yourself out there.
Almost like you have to you have to experience the pain if that's where it's going to be.
And time's going to tell all. It just depends on how much time you're going to waste, right? Like that could linger out for another 6 months, another year, whatever. But at some point, you're either going to confront the situation or you're going to cut it off. Now, would you rather do that sooner so you don't have to waste that 6 months that's and all the opportunities that come that way? I guess that's up to you.
Now, can somebody who you may develop a stronger connection with, if they come along and you haven't taken those actions, you haven't dealt with those emotions, and all of a sudden this Eric of your life shows up and makes you completely forget to where you're like, no, fuck you, like I don't even care about you anymore, comes along, like is that a healthy approach? Or should you still deal with the pains and emotions?
I don't think you can expect anyone to come into your life 100% if you're not at 100%.
Okay.
I guess if that answers it.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think you'd be able to appreciate the next thing until the first door is closed, however it needs to close.
Okay.
Because you're not open necessarily fully to opportunities and new relationships and stuff, right? Being kind of like lingering or having that mindset going on. Mm-hmm. So then I don't even know that the Eric of the situation would come.
Show up because you're not in the right place.
I think they're waiting for like,
yeah,
it's just not the time then.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I like that. Do you think that two individuals who have dated can go to being friends?
No, absolutely not.
No.
I know there's probably a lot of people that would fight me on that, but I don't. Yeah. And okay, I guess I shouldn't say that because I think you can be friends. I think that is very disrespectful to the relationship that you both are trying to have
with other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
that's true.
You are then sacrificing a bit of, I don't even know the word I want to use. You just got to figure out your priorities. It's
not fair.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so because there was something there once. I think which means there's going to always kind of, or there's a possibility of there being something, right? Mm-hmm. It's usually not as simple as, hey, we're caught up in feelings and now we're just not, but we're going to be friends. I think that's a very, very sticky situation.
Yeah.
But it depends on what you want. Me personally, my relationship and the relationship that I hope to like continue to have, that's something that's a priority for me.
Right.
I think at a different level than what a lot of people do. So for me, I want that to be like trust not to be an issue, vulnerability, all that stuff. And for me as a person, and maybe it's just growing that I have to do, I think it would be really hard knowing that the guy I'm dating is good friends with somebody that he's dated. I think there's just a lot of
mistrust.
And for me, and if I'm friends with somebody that I dated, I'm in control, I understand, I know, like, hey, nothing's gonna happen. Do I want the person I'm in a relationship with, do I want him to go through that mental stress of just having that in his head? No, like I don't. And so, and what's the outcome of the person I'm friends with? You know what I mean? It depends. I'm sure his girlfriend or someday wife or whoever, if he's seeing somebody, they're not going to like that. Or maybe it's because he's single, so that's why he's down to be friends. But the second he finds somebody, you're going to get sliced off. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not worth the bigger picture in my eyes, but because of what I want my bigger picture to be.
Yeah. You have to be set on what your goal is.
So
and don't sacrifice
right,
anything less
where
than that.
relationship to me is huge.
Yeah.
Some people it's not, and their work is or whatever else is, and that's fine. So then maybe it works. I don't,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I think it's just not fair to the relationship. It's not
no,
fair if you
I
really
think
want to
you're
be with
not
somebody.
letting it blossom as much as it could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're holding back on it almost.
Because I think even sometimes it gets sticky with friends of the opposite sex in general.
Yeah.
But when it's somebody that you've dated or nowadays have slept with, that's
Right.
huge.
Right.
I think that's a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
And usually you're friends because somebody's holding on.
It's true. That is true. Yeah.
There's like an ounce of hope or.
Yep. It's either going to work or it's not. And if it's not going to work, don't hold on because it's only going to hinder what you have to follow.
Yeah. And then
whatever
you're just going to destroy everything else along the way.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a time period that you have to wait between meeting somebody that you have this like amazing, incredible connection with, this Eric of your world, right? Or the female Eric of the life, and kind of like defining the relationship and figuring out what you want to call it? Or do you think is it like an immediate connection, or is it something where there's a process you have to go through to get to kind of like putting the label on it?
Okay.
Why is that funny?
I'll just use
Why?
my example.
Well, obviously.
Because, yes, this is a growing thing. I'm struggling. I'm going to be honest.
Is this your uncomfortable comment?
Yeah,
of the
you're
day?
making me squirm right now. And I know he's probably going to listen to this, so it's really funny.
Good, I'll send it to him. Yeah. That'd be good. He can
No,
open up.
okay, so for me, I guess mentally, inside all that jazz, I defined it before it was ever defined in words.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
in your head, you almost immediately probably defined it.
Yeah. Like, I already
Okay.
knew, like, holy shit, I'm super intrigued. I'm super interested. No one else is even causing me to, like, look the other way.
Is that immediate? Did that happen to you, like, very, very quickly? Or
very, very quickly.
Is that an over? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
no, that was very, very quickly.
Wow.
But here's where I'm bad and get in my own way of, like, whoa there. Calm yourself, back up, put your guard up, because you're about to get in a lot of...
The train's about to come, and
Yeah,
you're getting on the
'cause,
tracks.
So that's where it's like I recognized it, but I was like, what am I going to do about it? Skirt! I'm going to take a few steps back because I got to process this, and whoa, this came out of nowhere. So definitely, yeah, recognize that, and now I don't even remember what the question was.
I'm just saying, is
yes,
it
the
quick or
defining
slow?
the relationship.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're like, you're consuming my time, dude. Okay, mentally when I'm not with you, and then when I am with you, when I thought I was gonna hang out with you for an hour, it's been like 5 hours. The world disappears, right? It's great. I love it. I guess it depends on people's relationship or their definition of a relationship and all that jazz. So like it depends. That's also interesting to me.
Well, what do you mean definition? You know what the definition of a relationship is. It's I don't want to be with anybody else, just you.
Yeah, okay, fine. Well, I already knew that way before it was ever defined.
I know, yeah.
So I don't know
So
why
so you already answered it, kind of.
Yeah, I already knew that. But then we did have words about it and talked about it, and I was like, oh. But I think that's because, no, I know it's because my fear of people being in relationships change. And I don't know if it's a bigger fear for myself that I need to just remind myself, or for him, or both, or whatever. And I voiced this because our communication is, bomb.com. But where it's like, shit. In my head and how we acted and all that jazz,
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship. I'm not looking to anyone else. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
I'm there, right?
Yep.
But now you're going to ask me to be your girlfriend? And I'm like, what? Why does that freak me out? It freaks me out because then you feel obligated to be who this person wants you to be. Again, maybe a sense of something I put on myself or have seen put on people before. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to, that's why I think it's important to be friends before you do this, before you put on those like expectations and this and that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, for one, I thought I already was. So what the hell, And for two, because I'm already there. Like,
yeah,
I'm already there.
Yeah.
For two, don't change who you are or how you are or how we're vibing right now because it's working. You still know who you are. You're doing things to better you. You're filling your own tank, and then we can overflow each other's. You know what I mean? I'm still able to go off, do my own thing, focus on myself, and that's a growing thing that I've never learned. To be able to be happy in a relationship and still focus on myself and know that it's okay to do things for myself by myself even, you know, where then I almost feel like I'm obligated to like throw everything his way or to get his approval on stuff and this and that. And that, I think you can get into like a sticky hole and situation, and that's not good.
Yeah.
But then it's funny because I'm just in my own head, because realistically, I freaking tell the guy everything. I want to tell him everything, and I want him to be a part of everything. So I'm like, right, what the hell's your problem, you know? But I think it's just past stuff that now I realize I have to fight through, that putting a label on something, it doesn't change how I feel. It shouldn't change the situation. Right. I shouldn't wake up the next day and be like, oh my God, I'm somebody's girlfriend. I better sit in a cage. Like, that's not how this shit goes. But from past experiences and past things and friends and, you know, people I've been around, people get in relationships and they're a whole different person. I don't want that. I don't want that for either of us. I want us to be who we are. I want our families to see that we are the same people, you know?
Yeah. Almost like you have to have that, kind of like we talked in the beginning. You got to be comfortable with yourself, and you have to have that self-healing. And once that's done, you'll feel like you don't have to change, because you're already the best version of yourself. So get yourself to that healthy place.
Yeah.
Before you get into a relationship.
And it's accepting, like, I'm in a good place. He's in a good place. We're in a phenomenal place together. That is okay. Like, it is allowed. And it's like what I've wanted.
Yeah.
So just shut up and let it happen, Mariah.
Yep. Get out of your way.
Yes.
Get out of your own way and let it go. Well, good. Well, I think it's been super enlightening having you on. I think there's so much more, because obviously this is only, an hour and a half now?
Shut up.
We could do a whole series of episodes on this. I think it's good, though. I mean, it's great to get a perspective from somebody else, especially another gender, right, to see what the other side experiences.
Yeah, for sure. Next time, I'm questioning you, damn it.
There you go. We'll be on the Mariah Dowdy podcast, and we'll listen to everything you got to say. It's going to be so much fun. But in terms of having people reach out, if they got more questions and stuff to ask you, what's the best Instagram handle to get a hold of you if they want to send you some DMs or ask you a couple questions?
That's a really good question.
Do you want that? They're really not.
Yes, but what's my Instagram? Mariah Darko. Okay, let me just explain. There's a few floating out there, but that's a whole nother episode for y'all.
Those creeper stories, you got to change your profile 800 times.
I don't know. It's Mariah Darko, I think.
Mariah Darko.
Mariah _Darko.
Do you want me to look it up?
Sure. I thought that's what you were doing.
Mariah _Darko.
Mariah _Darko.
Yep. Okay.
I know there's like a blue sky photo, so.
Guys, if you see the blue sky photo of Mariah _Darko, that's the one.
I'm a hot mess. I'm sorry.
She is taken right now. Give her some time. She's with the right person. Don't be blowing her up for asking her all sorts of dating questions. Well, you ask her the dating questions.
No, ask me the dating question.
Don't ask her to date you with your questions.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
That's not how that works. Eric, I know it's not your real name, but if you're out there, appreciate you letting her have it on the show. It's been great getting to know you through proxy. But I think you're going to enjoy every piece of this episode. Now you got the inside scoop. You're inside her head.
No, terrifying.
But other than that, hey, thanks guys again for listening. I hope you guys take a lot away from this. It's really good getting perspectives from other people, especially when we're talking about the relationship sense. I know we get a lot of what's inside my head, but it's really cool to see the perspective from a female on the other side of the spectrum. So if you guys want, again, follow me, send me some feedback. Let me know what you guys liked, what you took away from the episode at fulfillment_podcast, as well as follow us and like us on YouTube and Spotify, and go to Apple Podcasts. Make sure you guys rate and score the podcast. Thank you guys so much. We will see you guys in the next episode. See ya.